Hello, and welcome to this information session on the Community Worker Program at George Brown College. I'm Resh Biddu. I'm a faculty in the Community Worker Program as well as in the Community Worker Accelerated Program. And in this session, I'm going to be giving an overview of the program and profession of community work. I'll be talking about program courses, which includes the field education experience, as well as skills students develop in the program and what it takes to make a success of the program. I'll be giving information on admissions requirements, application, and tuition, and then I'll talk about what comes after the program in terms of employment in the field of community work, as well as future study options for those who hope to continue their education after graduating from the program. What is community work? Well, we come out of a very long and very proud history of communities organizing for their rights. So advocacy and activism are very core to who we are and to what we do. Community workers work with communities and individuals at all levels, right from the very local level of our neighborhoods up to our cities and our provinces or territories, and even at national or global levels. But wherever we are working, we are always working towards positive social change, towards building societies that value the full and equal inclusion and participation of all peoples, so that everyone is not just able to survive, but to thrive, and that they can really live their lives with dignity. And human dignity, being the core idea behind human rights, is absolutely important to us. We are a social justice and rights-based program. We are about rights, not charity. Charity can come from a very good place, but it is not sustainable, and ultimately it is not about dignity. It is not about rights, and we are about rights. So that means that we work with communities in relationships of empowerment. We work in relationships of solidarity. We do not work for communities. We do not work on behalf of communities. We do not work instead of communities. We work with communities because, quite honestly, communities are doing the work. And of course, this is where we come from as a program and as a profession. Now, one of the questions we most often get asked is, how exactly is community worker or community work different from social service work? Well, to begin with, there are many similarities. So both community workers and social service workers really work from a rights-based and anti-oppression framework. We work to support people in meeting their needs and in dealing with social issues. However, where we differ is in how we focus our work. So social service workers will focus on counseling relationships and working with individuals and small groups to address their personal or social issues. Community workers, we do that. We do have counseling approaches to working with small groups and individuals. But where we really focus is on working with and through communities on the issues themselves. So issues such as poverty and racism, transphobia, homophobia, sexism, xenophobia, inequality, violence, the climate crisis, and of course the list goes on. Wherever there is human need, wherever it is a rights-based issue. We work with individuals in small and large groups, very much with communities and community-based agencies and organizations, with governmental agencies, with other institutions, with whoever or whatever groups have a stake in the issue. But again, our focus is on working with communities. So for example, if a community worker were working with somebody who was homeless or housing insecure, the very first thing we would do is look at the immediate needs of that particular individual. So shelter, food, health and safety, income. How can we secure these in terms of emergency benefits that are out there, but ideally in terms of long-term solutions for that person? But we would also recognize that it is not just this one individual who is experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity. In fact, we have a housing crisis right across this nation from coast to coast to coast. So this is a vital issue that needs to be addressed, because what we want is for every person in this country to have housing as a right, to have access to housing that is sustainable, long-term, healthy, secure. And so in order to do that, we will work with communities, agencies, advocates, activists, policymakers in realizing that vision, that needed goal. Now, we as community workers have always known that the work we do is vital, that it is important, that the approach that we take in terms of empowerment, solidarity, and one that is based on human rights and anti-oppression is a necessary approach to achieving these societies that honor the dignity of all within them. However, during the pandemic, we have seen a public recognition and a public acknowledgement that community workers are in fact essential workers, that everywhere during this pandemic you will find community workers, from food banks to shelter supports to working within health networks. Wherever there is need and needs that have not only been revealed by this pandemic, but have been exacerbated or increased by this pandemic. In 2020, during the first wave of COVID-19, the City of Toronto proclaimed a Community Worker Recognition Week. We have seen recognition also at provincial as well as national levels. So community work is essential work. The Community Worker Program at George Brown College is one of the largest and longest operating programs of its kind, certainly in Ontario and very likely in the rest of Canada as well. We have been around since 1975, and for over 40 years we have been graduating community workers into the field. We are very highly regarded in terms of being a social justice advocacy and rights-based program, and we are connected currently to over 350 agencies across the Greater Toronto area. And chances are, if you go to any of these agencies, you are likely to run into a graduate of this program. We are also recognized by the designating body of the Ontario College of Social Workers and Social Service Workers, or the OCSW-SSW. And we are recognized as offering equivalent training to that comes from social service worker programs. So that means that those who graduate from our program will attain a professional designation of CW, which stands for community worker, but then they can also register with the OCSW-SSW for the additional designation of Registered Social Service Worker, or RSSW. So this is a unique feature of our program. We also offer a 5-week intensive plus 1 year community worker accelerated program that is open to those who have a completed diploma or degree in any area. They can join the accelerated program, which is where they will complete the equivalent of the first year within a 5-week intensive semester that runs from May to June. And upon successfully completing all 4 courses within that semester, they can then move into the second and final year of the program. Students in both the regular 2-year program and the accelerated program, when they graduate, will earn an Ontario College diploma. The regular 2-year program runs for obviously 2 years, but 2 semesters per year. And so a year would look like the fall semester, which is from September to December, and then the winter semester, which runs from January to April. For those with specific types of accommodation who need to have a reduced course load, we also have options for them. And the main one is a 3-year option. So that means that they can take the program within 3 years instead of 2, with a reduced course load within each of those years. Our program offices, as well as all of our classes, are delivered normally at the St. James campus of George Brown College. However, due to COVID-19 considerations and upon the recommendation of public health officials, some or all classes may be delivered online. The program offers a combination of classroom instruction as well as supervised field experiences. Some courses will be delivered through a hybrid model, which means it will be a combination of face-to-face, in-person classes as well as online classes. Class sizes generally range from 25 to 50 students. The Community Worker Program covers 4 main areas of study: community work theory and practice, social and political analysis and human rights, group skills and counseling, and field education. The wider college also offers a broad range of supports and services and resources so that all students are enabled to make a success of their time within the college and within their programs. Some of those supports include counseling, accessible learning services for those requiring learning accommodations, the Tutoring and Learning Center, the library or the Library Learning Commons, which has thousands upon thousands of resources, but also offers skills-based workshops. We have groups that are there to support specific demographics of students, such as the Black Student Success Network for Black students at George Brown College, as well as the Indigenous Student Center and Study Space for Indigenous students. We have supports in terms of online learning, those who need housing support, from housing listings to just advocacy supports in terms of housing. We have the on-campus food bank, as well as the Career Center, again, which has everything from job listings to resources and workshops at job readiness or job search readiness. And we also have the very important student advocacy body, which is the Student Association. This is the student union, and they also have many, many supports and resources for all students at George Brown College. Now, the Community Worker Program is also very well known for integrating the field of community work directly into the program, and we do this in a number of ways. We have panels such as the education panel and employment panels for all of our second-year students. For the education panel, we will bring in representatives from degree programs that are offered at other learning institutions for those students who want to continue their education after they have graduated from our program. We also have employment panels that feature professionals and employers from the field who will come in to talk to our students about what is currently happening in the field. What is the job situation like? What opportunities exist in the field? What are the types of skills that students need to demonstrate? And what, of course, are those things that employers are looking for? We also, in the second year, have program electives that are taught by those that are currently working in the field. And these are issue-specific courses that keep both the program up to date as well as offers networking opportunities for our students, because again, it is professionals from the field who are teaching in those courses. So, for instance, we have housing and homelessness that is taught by tenants' rights advocacy organization, community legal issues, taught by a community-based legal clinic. We have food justice and environmental justice that are taught by those types of organizations, social justice organizations. We have an Indigenous health organization or urban indigenous focused organizations and workers that teach a course in urban indigenous peoples perspectives in community work. And we also have a refugee focused organization that teaches immigration and settlement. And of course, we are always adding on different types of these focused courses, really depending on, what are the very priority needs within the community at that time, and where is the interest within our program at that time. We also have other ways of integrating the field. So the Community Worker Program is the founding program and home of the Tommy Douglas Institute, which is really an annual conference exploring 21st century issues within community education and social justice. It is a very large public conference where we bring together agencies and activists, the general public, staff, students, faculty, whoever is interested, for a day of incredible talks and organizing and workshops and discussions. And this event offers or provides a number of volunteer opportunities for our students that they can add to professional portfolios that they are also developing throughout the program. Normally we have between 40 or 50 volunteer opportunities, from introducing keynote speakers to organizing and managing rooms, co-facilitating workshops, working the registration desk. There are many opportunities there. The Community Worker Program also has an over 20-year academic partnership with the Indigenous Health Organization Anishinaabe Health Toronto, where graduates from a program within AHT then come into a specialized program of study in the Community Worker Program and then graduate as community workers into the field. We are also the academic partner of the grassroots activist training program, Local Champions, which comes out of the Center for Connected Communities. In the Community Worker Program, we do recognize that all of our students, no matter their age, where they come from, who they are, everyone comes to us with lived experience, with learning, with education, expertise, knowledge, insight. And so we treat no one as if they are an empty vessel waiting to be filled with whatever information and knowledge we have to offer. In fact, we really work to integrate that, what comes through our students, into our classes as well. Therefore, our classes are highly participative. There is a great deal of dialogue and debate, interactive lectures, guest speakers and panels, and of course group work and group activities, because group work is community work. So an overview of the courses. In semester 1, which runs from September to December, we have Introduction to Community Work, Human Rights and Community Work Practice, Sociology, Understanding Power and Anti-Oppression, Indigenous Issues, Interpersonal Communication, and College English. In semester 2, which goes from January to April, we have Community and Campaign Organizing, Canadian Politics, A Critical Approach, Climate Justice, and the first field education experience, which is taught through Fieldwork 1 and Field Seminar 1, as well as 2 general electives. In the second year, beginning with semester 3, which runs again from September to December, we have Counseling, Canadian Social Policy, Community-Based Project Design, and the second field education experience that is taught through Fieldwork 2 and Fieldwork Seminar 2. And again, students will choose one program elective from those courses that are taught by professionals that are currently working within the field. And in the final 4th semester, which again runs from January to April, we have group facilitation, global politics, critical approaches to digital community work, and the continuation of Fieldwork 2 and Fieldwork Seminar 2. And again, we have another program elective that students can choose from a range of options. And overall, this is what our program map looks like. And so we very much work to make sure that we are developing and building on skills from one semester to the next. We work very carefully to ensure that our courses are mapped together in a way that makes sense and really benefits student success within the program. Now, the field education component or field placement is really very core to the program. So students are prepared in semester 1 to look for their own placements, to understand what's out in the field, to understand how community work is being done in the field. Students with program support are expected to secure their own placement with an agency that meets program standards. And we do this because students know where their interest lies. They have an idea of where they want to work or where they want to explore. But we certainly offer a great deal of preparation and support in this search for your field agency. During the duration of the program, students will complete 2 field education experiences. The first field education experience, they will accumulate 100 hours, and this will be done in semester 2. For the second field education experience, they will be placed or find a placement at a different agency where they will accumulate 400 hours of placement experience, and this will run over both semesters 3 and 4. Now, in this, both field education experiences, students are supported very much by the field faculty advisor, by the field supervisor, who is the person who is at the field agency that is supervising them, and by the field education coordinator. The field faculty advisor is one of the faculty in the program that is teaching them in the field seminar course. And in terms of international field opportunities that are offered by the college or by the wider division, if and when they come up, students will certainly be apprised of and informed of these opportunities as well. So to give a brief overview of the field education component of the program. So again, in semester 1, students will be taking a course called Introduction to Community Work, where there are a number of assignments and projects, speakers who will help to prepare students for the field, as well as really directing them in their field agency search. So that by semester 2, when students are in their first field placement or field education experience, every student will be with an agency. And for 1 day a week in semester 2, students will be in the field with the agency. And then for the rest of that week, they will be taking their other courses in their program. And one of these courses is the Field Seminar 1 course. And again, this is taught by the field faculty advisor. And in this class, you will be with about 20 or 25 other students. It's a fairly small class, where you will be able to share what you are learning at the placement, as well as developing different types of skills that are required by the field. This also marks the beginning of a very special relationship, or a very special relationship that is composed of 3 people. Of course, the student, but also the field faculty advisor, who is the faculty in the program, and the field supervisor, who again is the person at the agency who is supervising the student. And all of you will work together to make a success of that field placement or that field education experience. And the experience is really guided by a learning contract and structured upon a learning contract, which will be developed within these 2 courses, Fieldwork 1 and Field Seminar 1. In the second field education experience, which occurs over semesters 3 and 4, students will be in the field 2 days a week, and the rest of the week will be spent in their courses, again one of those courses being Fieldwork Seminar 2. And the same type of relationship will occur between the field faculty advisor, the field supervisor, and of course, the student, who again will work together around the learning contract to make a success of this field-based education. Our courses are designed to be current, exciting, and very critically engaging. The majority of the courses have a minimal pass mark of a D or 50%, and our field courses, which is the field work and field seminar courses, have a minimal pass of a C- or 60%. Of course, none of our students are aiming for a 50 or a 60. Everyone is aiming for an A+. All of our courses integrate theory, analysis, and practice which are taught through a number of innovative instructional tools and techniques that are, again, very much structured upon models of popular education and adult and learner-centered models of teaching and learning. In terms of assignments, will they include interpersonal reflections, research papers, in-class projects and presentations, quizzes, tests, and of course, group work. And assignments may be done in class and or online. And students will develop a number of very important skills that are required by the field. And these include anti-oppressive and intercultural practice in working with diverse populations, which include youth, newcomers, Indigenous populations, racialized populations, 2S LGBTQI+ populations, and the list goes on. Community organizing, activism, and advocacy. Critical analysis, which is very, very important, which does not mean negative analysis, but careful and deep and well-informed analysis. So critical analysis, research and writing, policy analysis and rights-based advocacy, group facilitation and leadership, individual and group counseling, conflict mediation and restorative justice, project design and proposal writing, and those skills that are required for working and learning in online environments. In order to be successful in the program, you must absolutely be passionate about human rights and social justice. You have to be committed to working with diverse communities of every kind of diversity, and you absolutely must bring a mature and professional approach to the program and to your field experience. This means that students need to learn and work from an anti-oppressive and interculturally sensitive approach. Our program tends to be an incredibly diverse program. The diversity and commitment of our student body is, in fact, a very core strength of the program. And as I often say to my students, Canada is one of the most diverse countries in the world. Toronto is one of the most diverse cities in Canada. George Brown College is one of the most diverse colleges in Toronto, and the community worker program is one of the most diverse programs within the college. And of course, we have the normal diversity of race and gender and sexuality and ability and status. But what really takes us over the top is our age range. So we have people in class from 17 or 18 to 70 or 80, or maybe even beyond. People are coming to us directly out of high school, or people who have been out of school for decades are returning to school, and they will be in the classroom as well. And this is quite common. We have people who have been working a lifetime in one trade or occupation and decided, you know what, I want to be of service to my community. And so they have decided to engage in a second career. We have people who are coming from outside of Canada who reached the heights of their education, were professionals within their field, and then when they come to Canada, they either decided, well, a new place, I want to have a new start, or they were told that your skills, your education don't count. And so you need to re-credentialize. And this, of course, is an important issue very often, and an unjust one, in not recognizing people's skills. Nevertheless, we also find them in the class. So we will have people who are lawyers, who are journalists, who are community workers already, many people who are already community workers, who are doctors, a range of professionals, cooks, chefs, artists, many artists, and all of that helps to enrich our classrooms. All of that is absolutely valued. Students must demonstrate professional and ethical conduct in all learning environments, in the classroom, in placement, or in the field, within online spaces, all spaces within the college. In a way, what we normally say is that students should treat the program as a rehearsal for the field. What we expect to see in the field is what we expect to see in the program. However, this is also a learning environment, and this is where students have a safe space to learn those skills, to learn those ethics and practices of conduct. You must be prepared to take on a course load of 20 hours plus per week. This also includes homework assignments. And overall, be prepared to be challenged, to have your perspective and horizons broadened, even changed, but nevertheless to be rewarded for this, because this is a rewarding experience. In terms of admissions, students are required to have an Ontario secondary school diploma or an equivalent, and also to have, or within that, have completed a grade 12 English at a grade of 70 or higher, or depending on the designation, 65 or higher. Domestic students can apply for either the regular program or the accelerated program through the Ontario College's website or OCAS. International students can visit the international admissions page on the George Brown College site. For current tuitions, you can also visit our program pages. But if you are in need of financial assistance, then you can visit the financial assistance page for details on what programs and supports are out there for you. Where the program does not require a vulnerable sector check, a VSS, otherwise, or as some would term it, a police check, many of our field agencies do require this. And so students will be supported by our field education coordinator in completing the vulnerable sector check if one is needed. In terms of employment in the field, well, community work involves working again with many diverse communities, such as those that are impoverished, Indigenous communities, 2S LGBTQI+ communities, Black and racialized, immigrant and refugees, people with disabilities, women and girls, seniors, people with addictions or mental health issues, and of course, many other communities. If you are interested and your sole focus is on working just with seniors populations, then you may also want to check out the gerontology programs at George Brown College, because that is their focus. If you are very focused on working specifically with women and girls in terms of dealing with violence against women, then George Brown College also offers the Assaulted Women and Child Advocate Counselor program. If you are focused on wanting to work in more social service worker types of relationships with those dealing with addictions and mental illness, then you should also really check out the social service worker program that also tends to place a great deal of focus within these areas. So the community worker program, we do integrate all of these communities within our teaching and within the delivery of the program. However, there are other programs that really do tend to focus within these areas. Another one is the Child and Youth Care Program, or the Early Childhood Education Program for those who really are very interested in working with children. In our program, we do not teach about working specifically with children, and we do not have placements where it is about working specifically with children, because children fall into a different legal framework, and we do not focus on teaching within that framework. So if you are interested in working with children, then the ECE or the CYC program is probably the program for you. Community work also encompasses a broad range of agencies and organizations that are all really, again, about alleviating human need and delivering on human rights. So community workers can be community development workers working at local and or national levels, international development workers working as supervisors within shelters, working within settlements for immigrant and refugee populations, advocating in terms of housing and income insecurity, HIV/AIDS, food justice, racial justice, climate justice, anti-violence, health, and very long, etc. There is the community worker field, or the community worker field is indeed a very, very broad field, again defined by rights and human need. So community workers might find themselves working within community hubs, within issue-based non-governmental organizations, within multi-service agencies, working within governmental organizations, such as for the city, or in constituency offices of various political representatives. They might even find themselves working within international agencies as well. And as mentioned, for those who would really like to pursue their education upon graduating from the program in terms of moving into degree programs, well, the community worker program also has very special academic relationships with several degree programs within the institutions that you see here: Laurier, York University, Humber College, Algoma University, Ryerson University, and the University of Victoria. So that means within specific programs in these institutions, community worker graduates can attain advanced standing, meaning that they can go directly into the second or even the third year of specific programs. Graduates from the program who are interested in other programs at George Brown College can also have entry into accelerated programs, such as those offered by the Child and Youth Care Program, the Social Service Worker Program, the Early Childhood Education Program, or they could also get into the Assaulted Women and Children's Advocate Program. We have also had graduates who have really moved into a diversity of fields in terms of their future study options. And so we have people, well, many who have gone into social work programs, into social policy and advocacy. We have had those who have really pursued study within areas of human rights and equity studies, climate justice, international development, immigration and settlement, and again, an array of related fields to social justice and social justice advocacy. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this information session. If you do require further information, you can contact the program coordinator at cwcoordinator@georgebrown.ca. So again, thank you for watching this recorded information session, and I certainly hope to welcome many of you into the Community Worker Program.